Hello Remodelaholics, today I'm going to show you how to make a simple tray out of pine and plywood. It's going to be 19.5 inches long, 13.5 inches wide, and about 2.5 inches tall. Simple breakfast tray. Let's see how it turns out. The first thing we're going to do with building this project is we're going to take the bottom plywood piece and we're going to cut that to length and width. It's going to be 18 inches long by 12 inches wide. And I'm going to use the table saw. I'm going to cut that to width and length. So after the base is finished, I'm going to take the two long pieces, 19.5 inches, and the two side pieces of 13.5 inches long. Each side is going to be mitered. Now that I have all the pieces cut, they're all the right sizes, they're in place, I'm going to just sand off a little bit of the inside because it's easier to sand it before you assemble it. Just some of these little edges like this, just going to sand it off smooth. Might as well sand this a little bit as well before we put it together. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on these edges that are going to meet up against this piece. And again, this is a 1/2 inch piece of plywood. We're going to use glue and we're going to use some brad nails. The glue is going to give it a really strong hold, and the nails are just going to be there to kind of hold it together. Some of these nails didn't go in all the way, so I'm going to use a nail set and hammer it in a little deeper before I patch it. After we assemble it, then we'll go and patch it and sand it. With this tray, with the simple edges, we decided to use these handles that we had. We're just going to put them on like that right in the middle on both sides. I'm going to use a drill bit that's slightly bigger than the screw, so it has a little bit of wiggle room. So we built that first tray. Now I'm going to build a couple other versions of the tray. I found some leftover door molding in my stash of wood here. So I thought maybe I'll do kind of a molding edge around and then cut some holes in it for little handles. So we're gonna try that option as well. I'm gonna glue it together right now, and I'm gonna use brad nails to help hold it together while it glues. But I mitered the edges just like the first option. Then I'm gonna do one more option, probably just with some rustic old fence wood that's weathered, and maybe do a rope handle or something like that. Then we're gonna take and do a little something special inside the tray, and Cassidy's going to show you how to do that.
Okay, so we have these cool trays that I asked my husband to build. Anybody can build them, and they're super easy, and we have these kind of boring bottoms of the tray. So, and this one, for example, is totally new, so it kind of defeats the purpose of the old weathered look on the edge. So what we have is kind of cool little agate printables that are on the blog. You can get these for free to download if you want to make this project. Okay, so we have 3 colorways in the printable. We have a blue and a green and kind of an orange. So you can paint the trays to match the printables. You could leave them raw, you could do a contrasting color, whatever you want. And then you can just cut the printable to fit in the tray. And let me show you the easy way to do that. So take your tray, and I am going to use the blue one. Stick it on the top of your tray like that, and take your thumb and just press along the inner edge of the wood. Kind of have to hold the paper in place. What you're doing is you're giving yourself a line to follow when you're cutting. So can you kind of see that line? A really clear pressed line that you can follow to trim to fit in the tray. All right, so now we're gonna glue the printable into the bottom of the tray. For this one, we are gonna use a matte Mod Podge because the wood is so rough. I don't want it to be shiny inside.
Okay, now that the trays are built, they're painted. Cassidy did an awesome job painting them. She got the printables printed out and in place. Now I'm going to take some epoxy resin. I've never done this before, but I'm going to take some epoxy resin, mix it up, pour it on top, maybe do about 1/8 of an inch thick layer of it on top of the tray. So I just went to the Home Depot, I got some super glaze, pour on finish, and preservative. It's a 2-part, it'll do ultra glossy, so it should look really nice inside the tray. Okay, for starters, it says to use safety glasses. I'm gonna use some safety glasses because I don't want any of this stuff in my eyes. I have a cheap drywall knife that I bought just recently. This will help spread it out. A foam brush here to help spread it out nice and neat. I just went and bought a dowel just to have a little stirring stick. I also bought a 1-quart mix and measure. It's really cool because it says, you know, if I do half and half, I mean, it has all the measurements for me. So these I can throw away because, I mean, they weren't too expensive. So it's basically gonna be 50-50. Half of this and half of this together in here. If I use this whole thing at 1/16 of an inch thick, it'll be about 3 square feet. This is 18 by 12, so a little less than a square foot and a half. So I should be able to do both trays. I have 2 trays I'm going to do. I should be able to do two trays with this. And if I don't have enough, I have some extra I bought. So we're just going to pour this in. I think I'll start off with just 10 ounces of each. And see how far that takes me. So I got 10 ounces, then I'll go up to 20 ounces. And it says to mix this for 3 minutes at a time. So mix it for 3 minutes together, pour it in a new container and mix it for another 3 minutes. You want to do it gently. You don't want too many bubbles in there. The more bubbles you have, the harder it is to keep the bubbles out. You kind of see how it's mixing it together. Okay, so we're going to mix this just a little bit more. And we're going to start pouring this in here. Nice thing about these trays is it already has the sides to keep the epoxy from spilling out and over. So there are a bunch of tiny bubbles. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to use a hair dryer to try to get these bubbles to come up and pop. The heat and the air of it will help. So the hair dryer helped bring the bubbles to the surface. Now I just gotta let it sit there and cure. Alright, now I just mixed up the other epoxy. This time I did a little bit less. I've got about 24 ounces total. And then I'm gonna put in this tray, the same size, but I just didn't want it as thick, so I'm gonna try that out. So we're gonna pour this in and spread it out.
Okay, you guys, so we're done with the trays and we learned some things, right?
Yes.
Yes. So first we have this kind of rough timber one, and I didn't want it to be shiny on the inside, so we tried a matte Mod Podge, but it wrinkled a lot. And it might have been the fact that we didn't lay it all down at one time. I learned as I went along, so this might work if we did it right next time. But I think ultimately, would you do the epoxy?
On this one?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I would try it.
Okay, so we're thinking maybe doing epoxy, and then you have the idea how would you make it like look more matte?
So you take some steel wool and you just buff that glossiness off of the resin.
I think that would really work with this tray in particular, since it's so rough and rustic.
Then it would still protect the paper.
Yeah, it would protect the finish, but it wouldn't be so glossy like these other ones are. Our cat is having a conniption fit. Tiger! Oh, he's locked up.
Save the cat. And we're back.
And we're back. Action. Wait, you usually say that.
Action.
Nice. Okay, so this is the second tray, and I have to admit, like, the look of this tray with the curved edge just from the molding, so cool.
Turned out nice.
Yeah, that was Justin's idea. I love it.
Leftover door molding.
Yeah, so, and it has some interesting lines on the inside, so I think that's cool. There's Tiger. He's gonna check out the flowers, try to eat them. Okay, so here's what we learned with this one. We used a matte paper, and it looks beautiful. You can see the shine from our chandelier, right? So it has a really pretty finish, but the paper became a little translucent.
The matte paper, it just absorbed all of the resin, and it's unified color.
Well,
it's
except for one place, there's a little bit of an air bubble on the paper, and you can see that more because it wasn't flat down. So last but not least, and technically my very favorite, is this blue tray, and it turned out perfectly, and the difference was we printed it out on photo paper.
Yes.
And so when we poured the epoxy over, the photo paper stayed vibrant and bright and opaque. So you can't see below the surface. And I mean, it's a pretty, you can see that reflection. It's a super pretty shine.
There's about maybe a 3/16 of an inch thick resin on top of here. You can go as thin as a 1/16 of an inch.
Yeah.
Or you can go thicker.
But I think that's just about perfect. So this is perfect for, you could use it on a coffee table for holding books and remote controls. You could use it as a breakfast tray. You could use it on a desk to hold papers and pens and staplers. So it's super multifunctional, and it has the pretty handles. But you know, if you don't have the budget for the pretty handles, you could just drill them out, or you could use the rope. But there's a lot of different options. So
3 cool options.
3 cool trays, but just make sure you use the photo paper and the epoxy. And then if you don't want it to be so shiny, you could try out the steel wool.
Yep. So what do you think? What's your favorite?
Yeah, which one did you like the most? Which one would you want to make? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe to the video and come back for next week. We'll have another cool project. See you later.
Thanks.